Originally when I started this, that I spoke to Dr. Quinton Martin of the Cape Leopard Trust, just finding out more details about what he does and how he conserves the leopards in the Cape and the Cedarburg area, which led me to think of an idea of doing a sculpture for a local area. They do a lot of research in the Cape leopards, and there used to be quite a few in the mountains around us. So it was just more and more reason to try and do something that was local, long time ago, and try and create a little bit of nature that perhaps would add life again in the public place, that could give the impression that the Cape used to have leopards in it, whether they be Cape leopards or normal ones, large ones. Had to make a bit more of a three-dimensional, triangular format of the whole sculpture, and I needed extra support. So people were putting in a second bird, balances things out a bit more. Had to create the leaves to try and balance everything, reattach key points to support the whole bird. So by the time this roll is gone, the wing is supported by those leaves, but at the same time the leaf is supporting the stomach of the leopard as well, at the same time, because he's pivoted at 45-degree angles. It's a bit complicated finding a way to balance all aspects of it to make sure that when it's cast and all the metal rods are out, that it would actually stand quite stable, together with very strong internal stainless steel rods that will go down the back legs into the base. The problem with the grass is trying to create a suitable support that looked natural enough to try and get it looked like a bit of support for the sculpture itself by having blade of grass instead of a bush, but not too detailed, because the more you cast in detail, the more expensive it gets. On the Guinea Fowl itself, try to create the look of surprise on the face, on the eyes and the detail, wherever things were added to make it look as if he had got quite a fright, the same as the big one at the top. It's been spooked from the long grass. Trying to capture a moment of complete surprise and the same of very fast action moment, trying to free the moment in time basically, having a leopard pounce on a Guinea Fowl at the same time, trying to create the motion and trying to get the whole piece to look very much alive. I've always been very fascinated with leopards. It has been my probably most favoured animal. The career line was originally intended to be studying zoology, and I wanted a PhD in leopards. I just thought the leopard has an incredible character, the look on its face and everything, the detail of it. All cats are beautiful, but particularly leopard, there's the grace about it and the beauty about it that is quite unrivaled, and just drawn to the animal tremendously. So I thought, what an opportune moment to do him, grabbing a bunch of Guinea Fowls, something that other sculptors haven't done before. A new approach, something a bit more action, instead of just leopards walking in the bush or sitting down or lying sleeping. I wanted something of a particular motion, a real action shot. I've seen many, both wildlife and zoos, and I've studied many pictures. When I pieced them together, I took many photographs of different formats, and how they walked and how they were climbing and how they jumped streams, and I took views of some domestic cats as well, and stances they would take at grabbing pigeons and put it all together in one, and then took some close-ups of more the muscular side of the animal as it would jump, and what kind of muscles would stick out and what kind of shoulder blades would protrude, and try and get that all part of the overall effect. So when you get it in clay, once it's in bronze, then it would stand out even more with the patina. So I always say, if it looks very good in clay, it can only look better in bronze once the colour adds to it and carries off the detail of that one cannot see in the dark clay.
His face I changed so many times. That's one of the challenges that I had. I realized I needed to change the face, and I basically split his skull in half and widened the bridge of between the eyes and shortened the nose, and then it began to look a lot more like a leopard.
I think a piece like this should be a centre piece, either on in front of a hotel or in front of a game lodge or something, where at the foyer, where it's around about where it's the first point of impact that you see it, in walking up a pathway towards the building, but you can't miss it. It will be on an elevated plinth, so you're looking up to add even more effect to the flight of the birds and the perspective of it, and looking up at the sculpture itself. Even in private homes, if it was on the access point between, in a formal courtyard between, depending how the residence is designed, something that's always got a key placement, that wherever you are in the garden, wherever you are in the house, you would focus on this as a point of leading the eye, which forms very much part of the landscape. When it comes to landscape design, you always have a focal point too. Very natural setting though, it needs to be in a garden or in a natural garden setting, or even a lawn setting, where you would picture guinea fowls being scooped out of a copse of grass or bush veld, to make it even more natural. So having a garden complements it even more.